Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will take a journey through time to explore the history of pyramids. From ancient Egypt to Mexico and beyond, we will discover the fascinating stories behind these iconic structures and the civilizations that built them. From their architectural design and construction techniques to their cultural significance and religious beliefs, we will uncover the mysteries that have captivated people for thousands of years. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn about the rich history of pyramids. Pyramids are built during a time when Egypt was one of the richest and most powerful civilizations in the world. The pyramids, especially the Great Pyramids of Giza, are some of the most magnificent man-made structures in history. Their massive scale reflects the unique role that the pharaoh or king played in ancient Egyptian society. The pyramids were built from the beginning of the Old Kingdom to the close of the Ptolemaic period. In the 4th century AD, the peak of pyramid building began with the late 3rd dynasty and continued until roughly the 6th, c. 2325 BC. More than 4,000 years later, the Egyptian pyramids still retain much of their majesty, providing a glimpse into the country's rich and glorious past. The pharaoh and Egyptian society during the 3rd and 4th dynasties of the Old Kingdom, Egypt enjoyed tremendous economic prosperity and stability. Kings held a unique position in Egyptian society. Somewhere in between human and divine, they were believed to have been chosen by the gods themselves to serve as their mediators on earth. Because of this, it was in everyone's interest to keep the king's majesty intact even after his death, when he was believed to become Osiris, god of the dead. The new pharaoh, in turn, became Horus, the falcon god who served as protector of the sun god Ra. Did you know? The pyramid's smooth, angled sides symbolized the rays of the sun and were designed to help the king's soul ascend to heaven and join the gods, particularly the sun god Ra. Ancient Egyptians believed that when the king died, part of his spirit, known as Ka, remained with his body. To properly care for his spirit, the corpse was mummified and everything the king would need in the afterlife was buried with him, including gold vessels, food, furniture, and other offerings. The pyramids became the focus of a cult of the dead king that was supposed to continue well after his death. Their riches would provide not only for him, but also for the relatives, officials, and priests who were buried near him. The early pyramids. From the beginning of the dynastic era, 2950 BC, royal tombs were carved into rock and covered with flat-roofed rectangular structures known as mastabas, which were precursors to the pyramids. The oldest known pyramid in Egypt was built around 2630 BC at Saqqara for the 3rd dynasty's King Djoser. Known as the Step Pyramid, it began as a traditional mastaba but grew into something much more ambitious. As the story goes, the pyramid's architect was Imhotep, a priest and healer who some 1,400 years later would be deified as the patron saint of scribes and physicians. Over the course of Djoser's nearly 20-year reign, pyramid builders assembled 6 step layers of stone, as opposed to mud brick, like most earlier tombs that eventually reached a height of 204 feet, 62 meters. It was the tallest building of its time. The step pyramid was surrounded by a complex of courtyards, temples, and shrines where Djoser could enjoy his afterlife. After Djoser, the step pyramid became the norm for royal burials, although none of those planned by his dynastic successors were completed, probably due to their relatively short reigns. The earliest tomb constructed as a true, smooth-sided, not stepped pyramid was the Red Pyramid at Dahshur, one of 3 burial structures built for the first king of the 4th dynasty, Sneferu, 2613 to 2589 BC. It was named for the color of the limestone blocks used to construct the pyramid's core. The Great Pyramids of Giza. No pyramids are more celebrated than the Great Pyramids of Giza, located on a plateau on the west bank of the Nile River on the outskirts of modern-day Cairo. The oldest and largest of the 3 pyramids at Giza, known as the Great Pyramid, is the only surviving structure out of the famed 7 wonders of the ancient world. It was built for Pharaoh Khufu, Cheops in Greek, Sneferu's successor, and the second of the 8 kings of the 4th dynasty. The Khufu reigned for 23 years, 2589 to 2566 BC. Relatively little is known of his reign beyond the grandeur of his pyramid. The sides of the pyramid's base averaged 755.75 feet, 230 meters, and its original height was 481.4 feet, 147 meters, making it the largest pyramid in the world. 3 small pyramids built for Khufu's queens are lined up next to the Great Pyramid, and a tomb was found nearby containing the empty sarcophagus of his mother, Queen Hetepheres. Like other pyramids, Khufu's is surrounded by rows of mastabas, where relatives or officials of the king were buried to accompany and support him in the afterlife. Who built the pyramids? Though some popular versions of history held that the pyramids were built by slaves or foreigners forced into labor, skeletons excavated from the area show that the workers were probably native Egyptian agricultural laborers who worked on the pyramids during the time of year when the Nile River flooded much of the land nearby. Approximately 2.3 million blocks of stone, averaging about 2.5 tons each, had to be cut, transported, and assembled to build Khufu's Great Pyramid. The ancient Greek historian Herodotus wrote that it took 20 years to build and required the labor of 100,000 men, but later archaeological evidence suggests that the workforce might actually have been around 20,000. The end of the Pyramid era. Pyramids continued to be built throughout the 5th and 6th dynasties, but the general quality and scale of their construction declined over this period, along with the power and wealth of the kings themselves. In the later Old Kingdom pyramids, beginning with that of King Una's 2375 to 2345 BC, pyramid builders began to inscribe written accounts of events in the king's reign on the walls of the burial chamber and the rest of the pyramid's interior. Known as pyramid texts, these are the earliest significant religious compositions known from ancient Egypt. The last of the Great Pyramid. Builders was Pepi Io, 2278 to 2184 BC, the second king of the 6th dynasty, who came to power as a young boy and ruled for 94 years. By the time of his rule, Old Kingdom prosperity was dwindling and the pharaoh had lost some of his quasi-divine status as the power of non-royal administrative officials grew. Pepi Hu's pyramid, built at Saqqara and completed some 30 years into his reign, was much shorter, 172 feet, than others of the Old Kingdom. With Pepi's death, the kingdom and strong central government virtually collapsed and Egypt entered a turbulent phase known as the First Intermediate Period. Later kings of the 12th dynasty would return to pyramid building during the so-called Middle Kingdom phase, but it was never on the same scale as the Great Pyramids. The pyramids today, tomb robbers and other vandals in both ancient and modern times removed most of the bodies and funeral goods from Egypt's pyramids and plundered their exteriors as well. Stripped of most of their smooth white limestone coverings, the Great Pyramids no longer reach their original heights. Khufu's, for example, measures only 451 feet high. Nonetheless, millions of people continue to visit the pyramids each year, drawn by their towering grandeur and the enduring allure of Egypt's rich and glorious past. And there you have it, a brief overview of the fascinating history of pyramids. These ancient structures have stood the test of time and continue to captivate audiences to this day. If you found this video informative, be sure to like and subscribe for more educational content. Until next time, keep exploring the wonders of history.